But all in all, but it's been a good crowd. It's been an interesting few days.
I'm gonna ask you, do you like it in Atlanta or in Hoover better?
I can say that for my
Hoover.
Oh, by far.
Hey Gators and sports fans, get all your Gator talk, news, analysis, and opinions on the Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning podcast. Find us on your favorite podcast platform or watch us on Facebook Live between 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. every weekday. Pod Up, because we are Gator fans. So say it's great to be a Florida Gator.
Away, my man.
I am. It's been a good week. There's nothing like it, frankly, as far as attention from the nation and from the media. So I've enjoyed it. I think the coaches have done a good job. When you get nuggets here and there and everywhere, and so today, Brian Harsin is out of the gate. We've got Jimbo Fisher, who is on today. His captain's got in trouble, so unfortunately he will not be here during that time either. So, but we wrap up today. But I think Jimbo being toward the end will keep people here.
Yes. So Brent, who do I sound like? Yes, our team has worked extremely hard this off season. Been great in the weight room. Proud of our coaching staff. I can't wait to see these kids compete. It's just coach speak. Is there ever, you've been covering the SEC Media Days for years. Has there ever been a coach get up there and say, you know what, I've been very disappointed in how we worked out 2 weeks ago in the summer? It's just, it's the same, everybody has the same song and dance, right?
This is why really that you have to talk to beat writers and just trying to find out what is going on and what is really going on. Now you get some information from some of the coaches, which I think is valuable. But I mean, you're right. It's almost like spring training in Major League Baseball. No one's had a bad off season. But I think a lot of it is, that this league has so many advantages to a degree that others don't. I mean, everybody's pretty much got the same base, and that they go with the same stuff, but you've got so many more bells and whistles in the SEC that it adds a little bit more to it. So, but no, to your point, yes, you pretty much hear a lot of the same stuff.
I may have heard and read, and it's been all over Twitter, the dumbest statement ever recorded or said in any sport. And if our listeners missed it, it came from the head football coach of the Vanderbilt Commodores when he literally said, Vanderbilt will be the top football program in America one day. I mean, I get it, but I mean, you cannot say that.
Yeah, I know. Clark Lee went on a filibuster is the best way you can say it. I mean, he went on and on and on and on for 15 to 20 minutes before you took questions, which is unusual. And he pretty well did the same thing last year, but I don't think anybody really paid that much attention to it, is the problem. So, yeah, I would agree with that. That's just something that as Sonny Smith, the former Auburn basketball coach, said, I don't think I'd have told that. Yeah, so you can add that same thing he said too.
Yeah. All right, Brent, we got a lot to talk about. We got a bunch of Facebook Lives here, but let's first start with day one, kind of the opening remarks from Greg Sankey. I mean, he's a sharp dude. He knows what's going on.
He is.
He's got his pulse on college football and the Southeastern Conference. Just give us an overall thought process of what you thought about Greg Sankey.
Well, he did. No real surprises that came from that. Overall, I think he talked about the league being as strong now as it ever has been. He said that they're comfortable where they are. He wanted the people to know that they are a super conference now, not on. I think the biggest thing we got from Sankey was, and this comes also from the Texas AD and the OU AD, is that they will be joining the league in 2025. Now, he said, quote, "That's not up to me. That's about the relationship between Oklahoma, Texas, and the Big 12. So if you read between the lines there, does that mean they may possibly be in the league earlier? Maybe. I'm not going to say they are. But at this point, that's kind of the date that we have got that we're dealing with. So Sankey deals with a position of strength. He knows that, and that they're in as good a shape as anybody is. So, they're still working on the NIL laws. He said we need a clear, enforceable standard rather than a patchwork of state laws or lack of state laws. So that's interesting. Now, one thing that we do need to get into is the transfer waiver windows. That legislation is moving as we speak and probably will be done. So as far as Sankey is concerned, those are the highlights.
Yes. And so, Brent, who stood out to you the most so far from a coach? I mean, again, we had a listener here talk about Mike Leach. Leach didn't even give an opening statement. He just gets up there and asks for questions.
Right.
He's a piece of work. Now, I didn't get to see a lot of media day, but I tuned in later in the afternoon to the Paul Feinbaum show and saw where the coaches that day, their interviews with Paul. And I tell you what, Mark Stoops, his interview, and it was basically about NIL. And he basically was being honest. He's like, I've not talked to one coach in our profession that is for this the way it's going about. And but who has stood out the most to you after 3 days?
Well, I would agree with you on Stoops. We'll break down some of the details later, but he's very confident in what he does. He just is who he is. He is very comfortable in his skin. That makes a difference. I thought Brian Kelly would do well, and he did. You can tell he's done this before. So he talked a lot about being the right fit at LSU, and I think he'll do fine. Kirby was as comfortable as I've ever seen him. And it's one of those things, and you and I have talked about this, what he would be like once he got the weight off his shoulders of winning a national championship, and you could tell that. And obviously your listeners want to know how Billy Napier did. I thought he did real well. He was confident. I can't put this any other way. There's a humility in him that really shines through when he's speaking. You don't hear that from a lot of these guys.
It's crazy. So if people have not heard, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but if people have not heard Billy's 30 minutes kind of addressing the media before they ask questions, go to YouTube or somewhere and watch it. The dude is just a great public speaker. And as you said, he's just so humble and down to earth. And we're in good hands, man. I've been telling people that it's going to take time, but he's got a plan and he's going to stick to that plan. And I think it's great. All right, Brent, let's do this. Let's start with Alabama. Obviously, they were there yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was yesterday or maybe the day before. They brought some really good football players. Did anything that Bryce Young or Will Anderson or Jordan Battle say jump out at you? I mean, obviously them not winning the national title, that's a chip on their shoulder right now. But anything coming out of the Alabama camp?
I think they handled the question about the revenge with A&M and the deal with Saban and Fisher, that they handled that well. That they just said, look, we have respect for them. We'll deal with all this the week of the A&M game. So that's they handled that well. Will Anderson is 250 pounds. He looks like he's a whole lot lighter than that, but I don't know if I've ever seen a guy process information when he was given a question as fast as Anderson does. Brilliant kid in a lot of ways. Bryce Young, you can tell how much he has grown since winning the Heisman. I mean, I thought he did everything and answered the question. I mean, it was typical Alabama players. They both talked a lot about Jahmyr Gibbs, the Georgia Tech transfer, and he is as good a receiver as he is a running back. Now, as far as, and this is the stuff that you find out that you have to dig for a little bit, but you get stuff, and Saban's really good about this. They've got a concern here that's just now come up. They've got a couple of guys. He talked about the cornerbacks, and Kool-Aid McKinstry, the kid with a cool nickname, and Kyrie Jackson. He said they have been injured. These guys have been limited practice from spring practice until now. Now, that to me is the most significant thing that's come out of this for Alabama is, and we still don't quite know this, how injured are they and how quickly are they coming back? How far behind are they? And they're both really good athletes. They both, I think, will eventually be fine. So to me, that was the biggest thing coming out of the Alabama situation as far as something we did not know.
Yeah, I want to jump ahead here because we're getting a ton of Facebook Lives brought to you by Mental Law about the remarks that Kirby talked about with moving the game home and home, the Florida Georgia game.
Yeah.
I know the Gator fans don't want to move it. A lot of Georgia fans don't want to move it. I understand Kirby's point, but here's what I say to Kirby. Kirby, how much better can you recruit if you have that one extra weekend? I mean, you're already the top recruiter in America.
Yeah.
What's it really going to change? But then again, we had someone say here, Billy's answer, which was, John says, I liked how Napier answered the question on whether to move Florida, Georgia to home and home. Since Kirby wanted to bring that up, to me, it sounded like he said he would rather keep it in Jacksonville without saying that. Well, Billy's never been a part of that game. And let me tell you, folks, he's from the same tree as Kirby Smart when it comes to recruiting.
Yes.
So
yes,
he realizes missing that one home game is hurting the Gators as well. But I hope it never moves. I think it will eventually, especially when they have to redo the scheduling when OU and Texas come in. I hope not. But I will say this. There is no way that they change this game where it's a home game for Georgia and the game stays in Jacksonville for the Gators. I just don't see that happening. Do you, Brent? If it goes to Athens, it's coming to Gainesville.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I said probably 10 yards from Napier when he was talking about this. So I heard him loud and clear, and he handled that well. I mean, basically, in his defense, he did not say really either way or where he was leaning on this, because in fairness, and Shane said this, he said, I want to experience the game in Jacksonville before I have any opinion on this. And that's really only fair. Now, look, this thing comes up every year, and I may be off a year or two on this, but I know they've got the contract through next year, and they've got the option, I believe, for another 2 years after that. Now, I can tell you this. Now, look, and I'm selfish on this. I admit this. I live in the Jacksonville area. To me, it's the biggest event, Jaguars or not. It's the biggest event in the city of Jacksonville the whole year. Yes. So, we hope to keep it. But in fairness to Napier, Shane, and this is what you're saying, I think, is he doesn't have a concrete opinion on this yet, but he will experience it and then go from there. But look, real quick to your point, and I've laughed about this for the last several years. Look, Georgia has been either 1, 2, or 3 in recruiting since Kirby has been there. There is no argument that you can tell me that I would believe that this will make a whit of difference in how they recruit, because it wouldn't.
No, it won't. And it's to the same point as when I try to tell these fans that go ballistic when we miss out on 1 or 2 recruits that go somewhere else.
Yeah.
You can only sign 25. Yes. You can only sign 25 people. You can't have them all.
That's it.
Okay. Before we get to Arkansas, Andy has a question here. It's a pretty good one. He says, Brent, what player had the biggest following from the media? Did anyone stand out? I just saw bits and pieces. It's totally set up different than when they have it at the hotel. It's the Winfrey Hotel there in Hoover. I didn't feel like there was as many like fans there as they usually are in Birmingham. Did I see that wrong?
No, you're right, because basically it's in the College Football Hall of Fame, is where pretty much all the TV and print room and all that is set up. And there just is not the room that you've got in the Winfrey and Hoover that fans will go, 10 deep to the door and outside the door in order to see players. So no, you're right about that. I mean, there were still your normal costume characters who were there, but beyond that, no, there really was not the room for fans as you normally have in Hoover.
Yeah. All right. Arkansas, which is a lot of the media boys for the SEC network, really think this Arkansas team can cause some problems and be like the 2 seed coming out of the West. Sam Pittman's done a tremendous job. Anything stand out from the Hogs while they were there?
Yeah, I was impressed with KJ Jefferson. He is huge, by the way, as a quarterback, right, Shane? I mean, the kid's about 250. Now, I think he may be 240 and has lost a little bit of weight, but Bumper Poole is going to be the all-time tackler in history for Arkansas. He's one of their linebackers. Jalen Catlon is back in the secondary. He's really good. I think one point that I missed with them was Pittman said they led the Power 5 in rushing, which is interesting. Yeah, so I thought that was – he's really happy they kept their coordinators, Kendall Browse, Scott Fountain, and Barry Odom. Now here's an interesting note. Week 3, they play Missouri State. Well, the coach of Missouri State's Bobby Petrino. Can you imagine the stories about that, what that's going to be?
That would be very
so obviously that they played at BYU. He did talk about Malik Hornsby, who was a quarterback that they moved out to receiver, which is going to help them. They've got their quarterback room is good, so they feel that they can move him out a little bit overall. But Pittman has grown as much as a coach as anybody I've ever seen in the league, to be as comfortable as he is there. But by the way, this came out this week too. Former Arkansas and SMU coach Chad Morris is a senior offensive analyst at South Florida now. So if you wonder where he ended up, that's where he is. And one more note on Arkansas real quick. Their game opener with Cincinnati, for anyone who's interested, will be the opener for the SEC Nation on Saturday, that they will be there. And again, that's a pretty good game.
Yes, it is. Auburn will be there today, but if people missed it, former Auburn, a great Takeo Spikes, is replacing Gene Chizik, which nothing is Takeo. I was teammates with him in Buffalo, and I think he's going to do a fine job. Yeah. But I'm surprised they didn't go get a coach, an old coach, because I thought Chizik was outstanding.
Yeah, Chizik did a really good job. Now, people wonder where he is. He's the D coordinator at UNC in North Carolina. And I think he just had the itch to get back in it. But, and I agree with you, Chizik did as well as explaining what happens on the field as anybody did. And now help me on this. People raved about Spikes' personality and what he can do behind the mic. Now, I've seen limited time with him. When you played with him, did you see some of that?
Yeah, he was a character in the locker room, one of those kind of guys. But I don't, like I said, I haven't seen him. I know I want to say he worked for the ACC network for a little bit, but I have not seen him on TV quite a bit. So we'll see. But yeah, he was a personality in the locker room for sure. Are you in the market to buy or sell your home? Doreen Weeby, a realtor with Caldwell Banker M.M. Parrish, will provide you with fast, friendly, and reliable service. Give her a call today at 352-562-1411 to help your dreams come true. Speaking with Brent Beaird here, live from Atlanta on the Titan MR hotline. Scott has a Facebook Live question. Shane, were you surprised Napier didn't really get asked any X's and O's questions? Not at all. I don't think anybody talks X's and O's ever at the SEC Media Days. It's trying to get a feel of your team. And then it's more about getting to know the three players that they brought. Speaking of that, let's talk about the Florida Gators yesterday. They were there. I thought Billy was outstanding speaking to the media. I didn't get to see any of the interviews with AR, Ventrell Miller, or Richard Garage. How did those guys do?
I thought they did well. I was impressed with Richardson. He had one of the better lines. He was dressed well. One of the reporters asked him, "Where did your suit come from?" And he said, "Amazon."
which surprises me, Brent, because I saw them, the pictures all over Twitter of them getting on the plane, and they all had some type of Gator colorful suit. But I know that Billy Napier, part of his Gator Made program, every player got 2 free suits that were given to them or however they worked the deal out from Men's Warehouse. So I thought everything that they were wearing was from the Men's Warehouse, since that's where they got fitted. But I guess not. I guess Anthony went off on his own and got one from Amazon.
Yeah, I think he did. But they were fine. Listen, Richard Garage is just massive, man alive. But they all did well in front of the media. I think the thing that look, one of the things that endears you to Napier is he always thanks the people who helped him get to where he is now. Buddy Pooh or Poe at South Carolina State, he had a lot of good things to say about him. Talked about his dad and the difficult thing that his dad went through with his illness. And now look, I'm going to read this, okay, because this is what you and I have been talking about for months. We're going to be moving into the new football training facility, $85 million complex, 140,000 square feet. I think if not one of the best, it may be the best in the entire country. It will help us to move forward building our program. So, again, I know that people get tired of Shane and I saying this, but it's just something you've got to have. He went on to talk about his staff a little bit. He got asked about Raymond, among others, who's one of the better recruiters anywhere. So, I think the Gator representative did well.
No question. And when I was listening to his talk, because I didn't get to see it live, I went back and watched it. He is so thorough. And I know he prepares, but, somebody asked him about Anthony Richardson. And he goes, Anthony's got all the talent in the world. He's worked hard this all season. He's a competitor, all that kind of stuff. But he goes, he's only completed 33 passes in his career. And he's only played this amount of plays. So, he has so many stats, whether they're written down or in his mind. He's so thorough. And it's very impressive to me. But, I thought things looked good for the Gators yesterday. Let's go back to the Georgia Bulldogs. As you said, Kirby looked very, very comfortable. Obviously, Stetson Bennett was there. I did see an interview with Nolan Smith, their linebacker. I thought he was terrific.
Yeah. Matter of fact, he was. And he talked about Nolan Smith being very intelligent and kind of the class clown for that group. But Kirby took the approach we're not the hunted, and we're going to continue to be the hunter. So he talked about how they are not complacent, talked about Will Muschamp, what a help he's going to be as co-defensive coordinator. And we all know how good a defensive coach that Will is, and I think he will be fine. Kirby Smart talked about Eric Gilbert, that he is matured academically and on the field. He told a lot about their NIL deals. 95 players at Georgia have NIL deals. I thought that was interesting. No surprise, Oregon and Georgia is already sold out. He did talk a little bit about the quarterback room, and I'll end with Georgia with this. He likes Carson Beck of Jacksonville, also likes Brock Vandagriff. Now, you and I have talked about this, and I'll lean on your experience with this one. Shane, I think they're one of the biggest goals this year. And look, we know Stetson Bennett's a guy. There's no denying that. Kirby loves him, and he won a championship for him, and he should be starting. But to me, I think what's going to be incredibly important for them is they've got to find somebody this year, and they've got the schedule to do it. They need to find a number two who can be a number one. So if that's Beck or Vandagriff, we will see. But I think that's going to be one of their real goals for the season.
Yeah, and if people missed it, they asked Coach Napier about Stetson Bennett because he offered Stetson Bennett to come play at Louisiana out of the JUCO.
He did.
So he's clearly their best quarterback. He still gets a bad rap, in my opinion. I'm a big fan of his. Lauren says here on Facebook Live, brought to you by Metal Law, Georgia has like 3 NFL tight ends. I think it's 4, Lauren, because I heard some expert talking on one of those interviews on the SEC network that Georgia has four tight ends that they kind of put in the Kyle Pitts category. Now, that's kind of hard to do, but yeah. Brock Bowers is phenomenal. Right. Eric Gilbert, we know he's talented if he has his issues, but they have 2 other ones. I can't think of their names. But I don't know if I've ever seen in college football, you line up with 4 tight ends, but these aren't like tight ends that you're going to run the ball down your throat. These are big dudes that can cause problems. If you do line up in a tight formation and then you shift out of that at the line of scrimmage into 4 wides with these big bodies that can run, that can cause some serious matchup problems for a defense.
Well, and the other guys you're talking about, one is Oscar Delp, D-E-L-P. He's 6'5". The other guy that is even more of a problem is Darnell Washington, who is 6'7".
Yeah.
So look, I don't, Shane, does anybody in college football have a better tight end room than they do?
No. I don't know if anybody in the National Football League has a better room than they do.
Really.
Kentucky. Obviously, they're getting a lot of hype. I told you I saw the interview with Mark Stoops with Feinbaum. I thought it was outstanding. But what is awesome is, and I'll let you talk about it, is something that Mark Stoops' mom mentioned about her 2 boys.
Yeah. Look, this is a rarity, and I don't think folks understand this or remember this, but he said that his mom could have 2 sons who are the all-time winningest coaches at their schools. And listen, that's a tremendous trivia question. What they mean by that is obviously Bob at Oklahoma carved his own path there. But what people may have forgotten is Mark Stoops is like 2 or 3 games away from beating Coach Bear Bryant's record at Kentucky. And people may forget that Coach Bryant coached at Kentucky and set the career record there for coaching. So, again, I mean, to me, that's phenomenal, frankly. And Shane, I don't have any doubt. Time Mark retires from Kentucky, if they don't have any plans for this, they need to have a statue of Mark Stoops at Kentucky if he breaks that record.
Yeah, and I think they will for sure. We got a text just came in on the Titan MR text line from Alan in Atlanta. He says, after listening to all the coaches this week and then Billy Napier, I'm dialing back my expectations for wins this year. Kirby's confidence and bravado versus Billy's humility. Seems like we've got a long way to go or a lot of grass to mow, as Billy said. Still bullish on Billy and the long term for UF. Look, Billy's a realist. I think, he can't he hasn't coached a game. That this team went 6-7 last year. People, you forget that. The roster is not even close to the national champs or the number 2 team in America, which is Alabama. So Billy has a plan. He's optimistic. He likes his team. They're going to go out and compete. But, yeah, from a win standpoint, we'll see. We'll see. Time will tell. LSU, we talked briefly about Brian Kelly. Anything else stand out about the Tigers?
They talk a lot about the quarterback room. I mean, Miles Brennan, Jaden Daniels. It's a pretty full room that I think he feels good about. And the funny thing is, Arkansas and LSU actually seem like they traded players a little bit. Fushaw and Brooks are a couple of transfers from Arkansas that ended up with LSU, and they still could be better. Now, he talked a good bit about FSU. They play on Sunday night of Labor Day weekend in New Orleans, so they like that. Now, we mentioned Jaden Daniels a few minutes ago. Shane, interpret this for me. One of the players at LSU said that Jaden Daniels, the quarterback transfer, in the spring practice where he ran over 20 miles an hour. Now, they've got all kinds of measuring devices right now that can do this. I'm curious as to the significance of a quarterback who can run over 20 miles an hour.
Well, I want to say AR, one of those runs he had last year, they I don't know if it was on a national broadcast or what, but I think they said he ran at 22 miles an hour. I could be wrong. Yeah. But yeah, again, this is what I go back to. And I know football's changed a little bit, but still, if you want to win, you got to throw the football. I don't really care if my quarterback can run 20 miles an hour. I want my quarterback to throw completions. So I hope LSU plays Jaden Daniels. I really do. I do not want them to play Miles Brennan because I think Miles Brennan's a really good player. And what people forget, before he got hurt 2 years ago, he was, after like 6 games or 5 games, he was on pace to shatter the records that Joe Burrow had the previous year. So this dude can throw the football for sure. Brent, Lane Kiffin, it's always a great scene when he's there. Anything stand out from Ole Miss?
The longer he coaches, the more subdued he gets with Media Day. People think that he's a wild man on Media Day, but he really is not. And I think he has matured as a coach. You talk about Michael Trigg, the Southern Cal transfer, being very talented. You talked a lot about Charlie Weiss Jr. I wonder if you know him, who is on the staff. Jeff Labby went to Oklahoma. And Charlie Weiss Jr., not Charlie Weiss Sr., this is Junior for our listeners. So now this is interesting. One of the reporters actually had to tell Lane this, that before last season, the record for fourth down attempts was 46. Ole Miss had 49 last year, Shane. So they broke the time record for fourth down attempts. Seemed like they did all of them in the Alabama game. But he talked about that as far as what it does for recruiting. It gives his offense another chance to be on the field about that too. So, and listen, he was very open, and I'll be very brief about this, on NIL. He said NIL right now is like having a payroll in baseball. What teams win over the long period of time? Teams that have the highest payroll can pay the players a lot. We're in a situation not any different than that. So I just thought his honesty, and he's been this way for the last several months, about NIL is not like every coach. And Shane, if we like it or not, and there's a lot we don't like, but there's a lot of truth about that, isn't it?
There's no question. Lane don't like it. Trust me. And he'll say it. All right, Brent, before we let you go, 2 teams I want to touch on briefly. Tennessee, high expectations, supposedly. We just don't know about their defense. We know they're going to put up points. And then the other one is South Carolina. They're intriguing to me. They had a really good year last year in Shane Beamer's first year.
Yeah.
And then they bring in Spencer Rattler. People forget, again, we go back to these ratings that people get excited about in college football. Spencer Rattler was the number one player in America, number one quarterback in America when he came out and went to OU, played pretty well at times, then got benched. Now he's going to South Carolina. He is clearly the best quarterback prospect that South Carolina has ever run out on the field. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, the hype is there. And I wonder if the hype is a reason that he's not here this week. And now Shane Beamer, who did a really good job too, talked about Luke Doty, was their starting quarterback last year. Now, Doty is actually back, and he's not going to be the starter, but he gives them some athleticism, and he could play multiple positions, I think, if he wanted to. And Beamer's not real worried about Rattler. I think he said he thinks he's going to be able to handle the pressure of it all. I still say Marshawn Lloyd, the running back, if he's healthy, will be tremendous for them. And look, the expectation grows for them. Beamer made a good point. He said no one was talking about us last year, and a lot more people are talking about us this year. So they are making progress. And listen, Gator fans need to pay attention to this too. I'm not saying you need to compare the programs, but the point I'm making is Beamer made a lot. No one knew who Beamer was last year, except for his father, who obviously was at Virginia Tech. But in a year's time, he made a lot of headway, and people are going to be very surprised in a year's time how much headway Billy Napier is going to make too.
Yeah. Two things before I get you out of here. The ACC Media Days are going on, and I don't think anybody gives a damn about it, or I haven't heard anything about it.
No.
What's coming out of ACC Media Days?
Well, the real mistake they made, and I've always thought this was just absolute insane, is why they overlap their media days with the SEC is just stupid to me. Now, Jim Phillips, our commissioner, said we are in favor of an expanded playoff, so I'm glad for that. And listen, people need to understand how close we are. But FSU, get this, Shana, they play week 0. FSU reports next Tuesday, and their camp starts next Wednesday. I mean, that's fascinating when you think about how close that we actually are. And from Florida and everybody else, we're what, basically about 2.5 weeks from starting for everybody.
Yes, no question about it. Okay. I can't remember. Does the media still do their picks and all that at the SEC Media Days?
Yeah. We're supposed to. We've got a deadline. This is what's different with that than it used to be. We've got a deadline today to get those in, and they will be announced sometime over the weekend. Now, the league has done this the last few years. And again, you asked me about Tennessee a few minutes ago. Heupel is up today, along with Harsin and Jimbo. But your point about Tennessee is a good one. Look, we know they can score 100 points, but my concern is, are they going to give up 101? And that's what I want to hear from Heupel is how good the defense is. But yes, everybody votes on who wins, and I can tell you right now, it's going to be Alabama and Georgia, and Alabama to win. And then we've got the first, second, third teams, which takes some time to do that. So, but anyway, yes, that's what's coming. And Shane, I know you know this, our listeners may not. Well, we're in Atlanta today. Next year, Media Days is in Nashville.
I'm going.
So I'm going to be very. I'm glad. I'm going to be, and you can tell us more about that. But I'm going to be very interested in how Nashville handles the SEC next year.
Yeah, it's they're used to the SEC basketball tournament, so it should be fun there. Brent, we've had a lot of people here. Obviously, it sounds like you're a little under the weather. You've been partying too hard up there in Atlanta. Long days and long nights at SEC Media Days.
Yeah.
Get some rest, my friend, and we will talk to you next week.
Yeah, I'm battling sinus stuff for about 2 or 3 weeks. But look, as Shane Matthews used to do, he played hurt. So I'm playing hurt too. And there's nothing wrong with that. But listen, we love it. And that's why we're here. And we will look forward to next week. Okay.
Safe travels back, my man. That's Brent Beaird.
Take care, buddy.
On the Titan MO hotline. I'm going to take a time out, give back. We got a bunch of texts and Facebook Lives. You're watching and listening to Pot Up with Matthews in the Morning.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our premium sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, the only official law firm partner of the Florida Gators. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Our gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Celebration Point Town Center, Chris Doring Mortgage, Silverback Concrete Co., Ruse Ogra State Farm Insurance, Doreen Wiebe Realtor Caldwell Banker MM Parish. Our touchdown sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union, Adams Rib Company, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Okido America, Style Cuts, Ironwood Golf Course, Big Mills Cheesesteaks, MB Listing, McDonald's of Gainesville, 84 Lumber, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, Avra and Smith, Dowling Signs, Baker's Sporting Goods, Silver Cube Billiards and Sports Bar. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, visit potupwithshane.com and click the Advertise button. Again, thank you to all the great businesses that support the show. If you like what we are doing here, make sure you follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Pro football legend Emmitt Smith understands your joint pain.
It does not surprise me that there are a ton of people out there that's in pain.
That's why Emmitt is such a proponent of QC Kinetics, offering real lasting joint pain relief with non-surgical, all-natural biologic treatments.
Whether it's a joint pain, ankle pain, shoulder pain, neck pain, back pain, hip pain, any kind of pain, the body eventually will break down when it's under that much stress.
That stress can cloud your judgment to the point that you'll just say yes to the scalpel or yes to another prescription of pain pills. But maybe it's time for a second opinion from QC Kinetics.
The reason why I would recommend this is because the natural biologics that QC Kinetics is providing you gives your body a chance to naturally heal itself.
Restorative, regenerative solutions are here. Get lasting relief and live your life.
Call QC Kinetics, 352-400-4550. That's 352-400-4550. QC Kinetics, 352-400-4550.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Celebrate your points where the Gators go to celebrate. With premium brands like Escape Apology, Sushi Hana, Regal Cinemas, Kilwins, Le Macaron, Prime and Pearl, the HBC's restaurant, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill every Saturday and Sunday. From 11 to 2:30, you can get the hottest brunch in town. We'll see you at Celebration Point where the Gators go to celebrate. And don't forget, on August the 11th, 1 year anniversary of Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. Tickets are $66. All the proceeds go to the Ronald McDonald House. Coach will be there. You can have a chance to win a dinner with Coach and Jerry and a lot of other good stuff. So go to their website and sign up and enjoy the festivities. A couple of Facebook Lives brought to you by Meldon Law. Lauren says he does not like Nashville, but he likes to type. Obviously, Lauren is not a country music fan. We're going to have to get him hooked on, get him some boots to go with those fancy suits Lauren likes to wear. It's my favorite city in the entire country. Absolutely love it. There was another Facebook Live here I wanted to get to that was an interesting take, if I can find it, or maybe it was a text. John says, Miles Brennan has been at LSU so long he was competing with Joe Burrow for the QB job. That is true, but there's a bunch of guys like that in the SEC. Bumper Pool is a linebacker for Arkansas. He's been there like 6 years. I mean, you look at the Gator roster. It seems like I think Trey Dean's been here for 5 or 6 years as well. So with that COVID year, you got an extra one. John says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel Law, as the SEC network crew said, Florida's goal should be to get off the tier 2 level and get back to tier 1. Yeah, it's going to take some time. I agree with that. I saw where Doring made a comment that he said that the only team outside of Alabama and Georgia that has the best chance to get to Atlanta, in his opinion, is Kentucky. So that's interesting. I'm hoping, I'm supposed to have that Mike Griffith that covers the Georgia Bulldogs on the program in the next couple of weeks. He's interesting to me. I know he ruffles a lot of feathers, but it'll be good to have him on. Chris asked, what do you think about South Carolina with the new QB? I think Spencer Rattler's going to have a great year. He's got a great relationship with Shane Beamer. Like I said, South Carolina has not had a legitimate quarterback. Probably the best quarterback they've ever had, in my opinion, is Connor Shaw, who played under Coach Spurrier. But he wasn't highly touted, really good player. But I think Spencer Rattler is going to have a phenomenal year for the Gamecocks. Dan says almost the entire Gator gymnastics team next year will be 6-year athletes. Yeah, it's that's the way it is now. Like I said, there's been some kids. Miles Brennan's one, Bumper Pool, Trey Dean, and I'm sure some other schools have some guys that when I hear their name, I'm like, those guys are still in college? That's crazy. But that's the way it happens. Let's get to This Day in Sports, which is brought to you by our good friends at Comfort Temp. Comfort is our business. Peace of mind is our promise. Beat the summer heat. Schedule your air conditioners tune up today, keeping you chill in the Florida heat far away. Comfort Temp Heating and Air. Call them today, 352-376-2366. This Day in Sports, in 1979 at the British Open, Seve Ballesteros beats Jack Nicklaus and Ben Crenshaw by 3 shots. And that was Nicklaus. Jack Nicklaus was second place 7 times in the British Open. That's This Day in Sports, brought to you by our good friends at Comfort Temp. Got a text on the Titan MR text line. It's from an anonymous texter. He says, if Florida's athletic department isn't patient with wins, why should we be? I don't know what that means. Look, Billy Napier ain't going anywhere. I guarantee you he is here minimum. I mean, he's going to be here 4 or 5 years, regardless of what the records are. But if you think that whoever this texter is, if you're expecting and you think the Florida Gators are going to win 8, 9, 10 games this year, I don't know where you're living. And I want us to win every damn game there is, but I have to sit here and call it as it is. And you got to remember, we were 6-7. We will be a better football team this year. We will be more disciplined in multiple areas. We will protect the football better as well. This texter says, this Jay, he says, the last few coaches have had 2 winning seasons and a bad season, and Florida cuts the loose. There were issues to that, though. McElwain took us to Atlanta 2 years in a row. I have no idea how we went there. It's because everybody else was so bad in the East. Dan had 2 really good years, but he was playing with McElwain's players. So there's a lot of things that factor into this. I do not see Billy Napier leaving or being fired unless he goes to the NFL. The dude he's a sharp guy, man, and he gets it. Greg says South Carolina over-under is 5.9. They'll win more than 6 games. I'll book that right now. Joseph says Spencer Rattler struggled against the Big 12 defenses. He's in big leagues now. He played good at times, though, too, now. Look, change of scenery may be good for him. I'm just saying I think South Carolina wins more than 6 games, and he's the best quarterback they've had. Did you see their quarterbacks last year? They were horrible. Horrible. I mean, one of them started against the Gators, transferred from a Division III school. Nothing against that kid, but he was not very good and should not have been playing in the Southeastern Conference, is my point. I just think it's a huge upgrade for Spencer Rattler going to South Carolina. All right, let's get our final timeout, come back, and wrap up this Thursday edition.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our premium sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, the only official law firm partner of the Florida Gators. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Our gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Celebration Point Town Center, Chris Doring Mortgage, Silverback Concrete Co., Ruse Ogra State Farm Insurance, Doreen Wiebe Realtor Caldwell Banker MM Parish. Our touchdown sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union, Adams Rib Company, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Okido America, Style Cuts, Ironwood Golf Course, Big Mills Cheesesteaks, MB Listing, McDonald's of Gainesville, 84 Lumber, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, Avra and Smith, Dowling Signs, Baker's Sporting Goods, Silver Cube Billiards and Sports Bar. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, visit potupwithshane.com and click the Advertise button. Again, thank you to all the great businesses that support the show. If you like what we are doing here, make sure you follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Chris Doring Mortgage, they do mortgage lending right, helping home buyers throughout Gainesville and North Central Florida. Call Chris Doring Mortgage today at 352-244-0840. Facebook Live. Greg said, didn't South Carolina have a grad assistant come back and play QB because he had a year ago? He was a graduate assistant. He went to South Carolina to coach. They had such bad quarterback play and a couple of injuries. He said, what the heck, I'm going to suit up and play. And yes, he played in a couple of games. It's a great story, but they had no good quarterback play at all. Dan says, Rattlers from Arizona, the humidity will kill him. Could. That's a good point. We shall see. Ruse Ogre State Farm Office is a team of dedicated insurance professionals ready to help life go right with the right insurance options for you and your family. Visit ogreinsurance.com. Give them a call at 352-240-1779. Make sure you tune in tomorrow. JC will be joining us. We'll do a little Peachland Dental weekend picks. We'll figure something out. We missed the golf tournament starts today. Don't get me on the Live Tour. Tour 54 is taking all the players. I just don't know how that'd be fun to watch if they ever put anything on TV. It makes no sense to me. Also, I have Thomas Goldcamp talk a little Gator recruiting. I'm not sure who Thomas works for right now. I think he left 24/7 and is doing something on his own, but he'll be joining us tomorrow. We'll talk Gator recruiting. If you got any questions, shoot them to us. Daniel says we'll get JC's Tour 54 picks. Oh, I don't know. Henrik Stenson, I know y'all don't like to talk golf, but he was the Ryder Cup captain for the European team. Just gave that up. That's something that those guys live for. My question is, why not just wait till after the Ryder Cup's over, then make that move? But I guess he couldn't do it for some reason. But hope you enjoyed today's program. We always appreciate Brent Beaird, our college football analyst, joining us on the Titan More Hotline. We'll talk to him next week, get his thoughts on how he picked the SEC to finish, his first, second, and third team, all SEC teams as well. And then make sure you tell all your friends and family, your neighbors to follow our program. Like I said, we're going to kick off some new stuff, maybe next week or the following week. Y'all will really like it. Real quick before we get out of here, Alan says the if scenario, if you get an offensive line to jail that can protect Anthony, I believe good things can happen. He traded in his Charger for a Camry. I believe he is going to make better on the field decisions. Yeah, they're going to keep it simple for him. I think the offensive line is going to be a strength of the offense, quite honestly. I think we're going to run the football like you wouldn't believe. We're going to RPO it, and we're going to throw it deep. We ain't going to ask him to think. We ain't going to ask him to read defenses. We're going to keep it simple, get him outside the pocket, use his athletic ability. But we ain't going to drop back 50, 60 times a game and ask him to read stuff and throw it, because that's not what he does well. And Billy Napier and them know they're going to utilize his athletic ability and go from there. So hope you enjoyed today's program. We'll appreciate you tuning in, folks. Have a great day. See you tomorrow.
Trying to get the fans fired up. 2nd down and 10. Matthews rolling to his right, in trouble, can't find anyone. Now he throws it for Harrison Houston, who makes the catch. He's in the open field. Harrison to the 20. They're not going to catch him. Touchdown, Gators!